right, this is Jared and Tara Evans with Unwound Music and Life podcast, and we are here with Joey Greer. Joey, great to have you on.
Man,
Um,
I appreciate y'all having me.
yeah, absolutely. So I know you grew up in Orange, Texas, and you're either an alum or still a student at Stephen F. Austin State University.
I'm an alum. I graduated in 2018.
Okay, great. So I'm pretty sure you know that we're proud SFA alum ourselves.
Axel
So
So
Axum
Jacks.
Jacks.
assume, yeah.
So I saw an interview you did before where you talked about your big musical family growing up doing music in the church. So maybe touch a little bit on that and tell us about your musical family. And I know you got your brother Jared in your band as well.
Yeah, man. Honestly, this is one of my favorite topics to talk about, along with the music conversation. But I've been around music literally since I was in the womb. I mean, my mom's a beautiful singer. My dad's super talented. He plays guitar. My mom plays keyboard, and they led worship until I was 15 years old, 14 or 15, and I just picked it up from there. I mean, I've been playing guitar since I was 7. I'm not a great guitarist, but it's given me a good base. And then just the 5 kids that they had, all of them are interested in music. And I would say that 3 of us are semi-professional. I mean, I'm a professional now, I would say, but my brother's in the band with me, and my little sister does worship music still, and she's incredible. She's actually on the last album we put out. She sang "In How Great Thou Art." Me and my brother and my sister did that live together. That was fun.
That's great.
Oh, wow.
So where are you in age rank with your
So
5 siblings?
I'm the middle. I got a little bit of everything. I'm 25, and the oldest is 30, and the youngest is 22. So mom and dad got, yeah, they got after it. Yeah, they they started and they didn't stop.
So your brother Jared's older or younger?
He's younger than me.
Okay.
Oh,
Okay. Good deal.
awesome. So he plays drums for you, correct?
He used to play drums. He's
Okay.
become a front man. So what he's doing now is he's playing acoustic guitar, harmonica, background vocals. He's just kind of a fun stage presence too. And anytime I don't have him in the band, or sometimes he can't make it because of work, it obviously he's missing. He does a pretty integral part with some of the stuff that he brings to the table.
Oh, wow. So who else? So tell us about who else is in your band with you?
Well, right now we've got lead guitars are hard to come by, but I've finally got one that I'm loving, and not nothing against anybody that's played guitar for me, but this guy that with us right now, he's a 19-year-old kid from Nacogdoches, Drew Middlebrook, and he's just incredibly talented. And anytime you get somebody that young that you can kind of help with what's going on in the scene, it just makes things awesome. And being able to just work together and kind of groom him into uh, where a lead guitarist in this scene needs to be, because y'all know lead guitar is such an important instrument, especially
Yeah.
in this scene. And excuse me, he's just so good. You don't have to tell him a lot. So
That's nice.
that's my lead guitarist, and then my producer Heath Parrott. Excuse me again. Here in Nacogdoches, Texas, is my drummer at the moment. He works at Encore Studios, and he's got like
Okay.
his own production tag, Heath Parrott Productions. You'll see it on all my albums and this EP that we're about to put out. Fantastic drummer. And then on the bass guitar, I've got Sam Freeman out of Lufkin, Texas, and he's so much fun to be around, man. He's a great guitar player, great bass player. Started off playing lead guitar for me 4 years ago. Yeah, about 4 years ago, and he's the only guy other than Jared that's been throughout the years there with us. But yeah, that's the guys. They're a whole lot of fun.
So some good old East Texas boys.
Every one of them, yes, ma'am.
That's great.
So, like we mentioned, we're SFA alumni. You're SFA alumni. Tell us why you chose SFA.
Well, I started off at ETBU. I wanted to play baseball. I went through a spring semester, no, a fall semester playing baseball at ETBU. Uh, wasn't really that great. I mean, I probably could have made the team, but I wouldn't have seen much playing time. So I decided I would focus on my music. And I don't know if y'all know much about East Texas Baptist University, but there's not a whole big country music calling in Marshall,
Not in Marshall,
Texas.
Texas. Yeah.
Yeah, so I decided to go find some bars that I enjoyed being around, and these happened to be the closest to home, and I fell in love with the campus and with the pre-professional program. I graduated pre-med from SFA, so I loved the pre-med program, the science department, and just kind of went from there. Fell in love with the lumberjacks.
That's
There you
right. You
go.
can't help but fall in love with that campus. It's absolutely gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
And the town is just fun as well. When you live in a town that has majority college students, you know you're in the right place.
Hmm. Right.
Well,
Right.
since we're talking about NAC, what's one of your most favorite places to go in Nacogdoches?
Well, of course, you got Bonita Creek Hall. I
There
mean,
you go.
that's kind of where I've cut my teeth, and I got to play a few shows out there, and we've played some sold out shows out there. It's been an overwhelming blessing, and I'll tell you, Bonita Creek Hall has been the biggest uh, catalyst to my career, most likely, out of everything, because it just gave me a stage and showed people that I wasn't just another kid in the crowd. That things started really opening up. But there's just, I tell you, really, my favorite places kind of changed throughout the weeks. That you never know. I mean, like sometimes I want Napoli's, sometimes I want Macklemore's. There's so much food
Yeah.
opportunities. Yeah, it's great here. I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
It's a
miss it.
great place, very special in our hearts, and we love going back.
Yeah. So Joey, you and I have been messaging. It seems like quite a while. When we first kind of stumbled on you, I think Tara first found you on Instagram because I remember her telling me, "Hey, this guy's from is in Nacogdoches." And so, the first song for me that really grabbed me, and I was like, "Okay, this guy's got a little something." Was Two Steps Away,
Yeah.
and uh, and I think for Tara, what was it for you? The
That's the one that caught me, but the one I am absolutely in love with is Can't Outrun the Thought of You. Oh my gosh.
Mom's
Like
favorite.
it is it is on repeat, on repeat, on repeat all the time.
so, so with that, I guess that was almost a full length album on that one, right? And
That
so
was
I kind of
technically a full length. I mean, I wanted to put a few more songs on there, but Pocketbook wasn't really having it.
there you go. So talk me through a little bit about your songwriting process and who you collaborate with and songwriting inspiration and things of that nature.
Well, I tell you, man, the scene is such a great place. I mean, Texas music is so alive and well, and didn't even it blinked for a second during a national pandemic that shook the entire world. Nothing we've ever seen, and now it's back better than ever, and everybody's going to shows again and just having a blast. But I tell you, I think the scene itself uh, really formed my songwriting early on. Josh Abbott, Randy Rogers, two of the guys that Aaron Watson, some of those guys that really just were the pioneers of the scene, if you will. I mean, there's of course you got like CCR, Cross Canadian Ragweed, and guys like that really started the scene. But the guys that I say are pioneers in my eyes are the guys like Randy Rogers and Josh Abbott and guys that I got to watch when they were basically just starting out. Kyle Park. Um, who else did I get to see that was before they even got Cody Johnson and Cody Jinks, and now they're just mega stars. So
Right.
I kind of when I started watching them, I said, man, I really like this scene. I want to do this. I've been writing songs my whole life, but I've decided I wanted to go to Texas country scene, and it really helped my process by watching guys like that were just phenomenal. I mean, and technically everything in the music industry is borrowed from to some extent, and
Sure.
so taking that and borrowing things that I liked from my favorite artists and making them my own, it amplified my creativity. And here recently, a good friend of mine, Trent Willman, up in Nashville, he's doing all Cody Johnson's albums right now, and he's a super phenomenal producer. We've written I think 11 songs over COVID together, and
Oh
that's going to be
wow.
our next project is going to be up there in Nashville. We're really excited about that one.
Well, I
Well, I was
well
gonna
I
say, oh sorry, go ahead.
I'll tell you, Joey. I think you're the third artist we've interviewed that has mentioned an influence from Trip Woolman, particularly lately. I mean, I'm talking
Yeah.
guys like you that are on the scene now, particularly David Adam Burns, which I know works a lot with him. And I think that's so cool that Trent's doing that for these younger upcoming artists on the scene.
Trent is such a good dude, a phenomenal writer. He's got a great voice too. I'm surprised he's never really I think he's pursued it, but I'm honestly shocked when I don't see him doing shows all the time because he's phenomenal. I really look up to Trent, and he's really starting to help me figure out how to be the next level writer and artist that I need to be, and he's just phenomenal. I have nothing but absolute praise for Trent Willman.
Well,
Yeah.
I think you're absolutely right up there. You know, you mentioned Josh Abbott, and we were listening to your new song last night, and we were also listening to Back My Way and Can't Outrun the Thought of You. We were talking about that, talking about your writing, and we were like, man, he's got some Josh Abbott in there.
Yeah.
He's got that Josh Abbott writing skills, and we were talking about how it was almost like a mixture of Josh Abbott and if you've ever listened to our podcast, everyone knows that I love me some Sam Riggs. Like
Oh yeah,
I love some Sam Riggs, but it was also part of Sam Riggs, creative writing as well.
I
So
love Sam Riggs too.
it was a
Yeah,
great mixture of both of those, and I was thinking, wow,
Yeah.
this guy's got it. This guy has absolutely got it.
Yeah.
I
And
appreciate that. I really do.
And speaking of influences, I mean, let's talk about the song that came out last week, which we were going to try to do an interview, and then had some stuff come up because I wanted to do something on that song. But "Back My Way," and I bring up the influences because I know on Twitter you've had a lot of people compare, including one a buddy of mine, compare it to a little bit of a Gary Allan vibe.
That is a huge compliment to me. I grew up listening to so I would say Gary Allan's up there as to one of the biggest influences. That's why I started liking country music. Brooks and Dunn is absolutely top. I mean, of course, you can say Leonard Skinner all day long. I think that's pretty much the pioneers of the Southern rock genre. But Ronnie Dunn's vocal just did something to me as a young adult that I was like, man, that's what I want. That's what I want to do. And so Gary Allan's right up there in that to me. And we were gonna get to meet him. What was it 2 years ago now that Philly Fest has been going? Uh, yeah, I was. I'm pretty sure it was Gary Allan was going to be there, and I was going to get to meet him, and I was so excited. And then he ended up not being able to come or something, or it might have been like the other way around. I couldn't go. I can't remember what it was, but I was going to get to meet him, and I didn't. I was pretty upset about it.
Well,
But
in
yeah,
August, he's going to be at Floors in August.
really,
Yes,
really, I
we're
might have to
planning
make
on
that trip.
going. I was like,
Oh, we're
heck
gonna try
yeah,
to
we
go
got to
then.
make it to a Gary Allen show for sure.
Yeah, I've got some friends and family that are really big Gary Allan fans. So.
There you
There you
go.
So tell us a little bit about "Back My Way." How did that song kind of come to fruition, and what was there any inspiration behind it?
Yeah, the Texas Music Pickers are doing a Fresh Finds podcast uh, Thursday over back my way, and they asked me the same question. They said, kind of how did that come about? Like, what was the uh, creative influence behind it? And realistically, so I sat down and listened to my album, and I'm my own worst critic. I can go through every one of my songs and go, should have done this. And it's just looking back. I almost can't listen to my music sometimes because it's that I'm that critical of it.
Gosh.
But so I sat down and after listening to the album, I felt like I didn't paint a good picture in some instances. So I really made it my goal. I wanted you, the listener, the audience, I wanted them to see who I was singing about. And it didn't have to be the same person that I see. I just wanted you to see a person,
I love
like an
that.
actual visual representation, almost something tangible.
Right.
And so like to me, the chord progression was something that almost painted a picture by itself. And then throwing lyrics on top of it, it just all came together. And over the past year, until I started writing with Trent, of course, he had to ruin my best song because to me that was my best song. And then we've got some stuff that we've done that's just incredible. But yeah, so that was pretty much the artistic influence on that one.
Yeah, so I really, really love that one, and I love what you said because I've told Tara several times that when a song can paint a picture in my head, a visual picture, to me those are the best lyrics. Those are the best songs that tell a story, and you can see like I can see the girl sitting on the edge of a freight car, of a train, right?
Mm-hmm.
Drive going through the plains on that whole line. You see the whole world from a train, and so I can totally see that, and I love that. So let's
I
talk
I
about
have a
the.
lot of people ask me about that first line. I want to explain something real quick. Because
Okay.
the first line of the chorus is, she'd rather ride a drop of rain than stay. And I got that from Brad Paisley and is it Reba? Yeah, it's Reba. When I get where I'm going, and then he says, I finally find out what it's like to ride a drop of rain. And I loved that lyric. So I was like,
That's awesome.
I'm putting that in a song one day. And I was just looking through my journal when I was writing this, and I said, that's going in there. And
That's
it's just
awesome.
that kind of spontaneity of like just doing something crazy, getting out of here.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
Well, and one thing that we really have noticed in your songs is your range. And that's what got me. I was like, "Oh my god, are you kidding me? Like this guy is crazy good."
Yeah, I think.
And we've talked about that, how we can really hear that in your songs, and I know you wanted to go a little bit
No, yeah, I
further
mean,
in
I
that.
think that the Texas music scene is so vast in, I've said this many times before that it almost has subgenres, but it's typically known for great songwriting. It's not always known for great vocals. So, so when an artist like you has both and has really exceptional vocals as well, to me, that really stands out. And I think you really have that with your range, not only your range, but your music arrangement. Whoever you've got working on your production team with the musical arrangements is knocking it out of the park.
Man, I was just telling the guys over at Texas Music Pickers, we've really hit a stride. Me and my producer Heath. I mean, we're back and forth. I don't like this chord progression. I like this one, and we just morph them. So it's been so awesome to just watch some of these things come to life. And like, for instance, two steps away. Um, I think we cut that 7 different times, and that was the final take because we just couldn't find a vibe for it, and it finally came together so good. And I was like, man, this is what having a producer feels like. Having somebody that can say like, this didn't fit. Let's put this there, and then we work back and forth. Yeah, so I appreciate the noticing of that because there's a whole lot of hard work and sweat and tears and time in the studio for that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Well,
All
you're
right,
doing a
so
great job. Yeah, go
let's
for it.
talk Rodeo and Juliet. This drops Thursday, so and we're gonna give our listeners a sneak preview right after the conclusion of this interview on our podcast that will be released. Well, for you, Joey, tomorrow, but
Absolutely.
on Wednesday. So we'll give our listeners a little day early sneak peek. But tell us a little bit about the song. I love it. We talked about painting a picture, and this song does it as well as any song I've ever seen before.
Well, I really appreciate that. And honestly, so when the production came up onto this song, I wanted it to be the most produced song that we've done yet, but I didn't want it to feel like the most produced song. I wanted it to feel like something really custom to me. And so like we got in the studio and we were working with unbelievable amount of tracks and like trying to figure out how we wanted to make it feel like almost a dream memory and like taking you back to something. And so like the song itself, Rodeo and Juliet, I was just kind of like I was messing around with the phrase. I thought it was too corny to put into a song. And at first it was until I really started hashing it out. And Heath actually helped me with a few lyrics in this one. And it's just been it blossomed into a really cool song because I went during the writing process. I went back in my mind because I was always that good old boy. We grew up. I mean, we never went without, but we didn't have more than anybody else. And there was 5 kids, and I mean, there's not a whole lot of wiggle room with 5 kids. So
Right.
I was always kind of that, just that good old boy, and that's still who I am. So kind of to relay that message is, I think, something very important, and it's something everybody can kind of they feel in their own memory, because everybody at one point in their time has been not necessarily the same caliber as somebody they're liking. And I felt like that was just a cool kind of Lady in the Tramp feel for a song.
I
That's awesome.
I love the title, and
Yeah,
and I see why you would say that you think it might be corny, but the reason
very clever.
I think
Very
it's very
clever.
clever, and what I think makes it work is, in the title it has to be Rodeo and Juliet, but in the song, your word phrasing flips it, right?
Yeah,
Uh, and I think that's what really makes it work.
yeah. It could be, I tried to do Rodeo and Juliet originally, and make the rhyme work that way, and it felt really forced.
Yeah,
So we flipped it around and looked at it another way, and it finally kind of came together. And uh, just just little inundations all throughout the song that really, really, I'm really proud of, and I
I love it.
can't wait for everybody to hear it, man.
Oh yeah, it's great. It was right when we heard it. He did it again. He did it again. He doesn't have one we don't like.
Well, I can't wait for y'all to hear the other ones too. We've actually remastered Chug-a-Lug, one of my original songs. We went back in the studio. It's our best song for me live because everybody loves partying to Chug-a-Lug. So we went back and redid it, and I had Hayden McMullen come in from the studio. He's played guitar for me a few times, and he's with JB and the Moonshine Band. He's been with them forever, and he's such a phenomenal guitarist. He's the guy that wrote the solos in Save the Farm and Cannot Run the Thought of You. And it's just so exceptional that he makes the guitar a part of him and sing. And so when he came in and did Rodeo and Juliet, I was like, yeah, we got to do him. We got to get him to do Back My Way. We got him to do Chug a Lug. And so there's also one more bonus track that I'm putting on this EP. We're not releasing it as a single. It's going to be out April 1st, along with Chug a Lug. It's called Yesterday, and it's on my social medias. Y'all might have heard it, but probably not. And I did that one live in the studio, so it's got a real rich kind of bonus feature track feel to it.
Oh, cool, very cool.
Yeah, we checked you out on the social medias. And we heard your COVID song. So
The quarantine.
Yeah, I almost changed it to like it's year 3 of quarantine because that's what it feels
right, right.
like. Yeah,
So
ridiculous.
hey, you mentioned playing Chug-a-Lug live. Talk a little bit about your live shows. What are your favorite? So I'm going to fold this into two questions. What are your favorite songs to play live? And then what are your favorite venues? Give us a favorite venue that you've played and one that you haven't played yet that you really want to.
Well, I think so. Basically, Chug-a-Lug is going to be up there. Back My Way is always good live. The band really just comes together for that one. Um, I'd say my favorite venue we've played has been Bonita Creek, and Barge 295 was really cool down in Houston. I really liked that place.
Yay! Yes, that's not too far from us.
I loved that one. We opened for Krager down there. We were supposed to be with Krager in Green Hall, and that was one that COVID took from me that I'll never forgive. Because we were going to be with Krager at Green Hall, and then we were going to open for Whiskey Myers at Chili Fest. And I know they're going to come back. There's going to be gigs that come back, but right now I'm still pretty pissed off at the
Right.
COVID-19. If it was a person, it'd be knocked out cold.
But you know what, Joey? There's going to be a time I feel soon where you're going to be headlining those places.
Mhm.
Oh, I can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah, we got to get you back to Barge in a hurry because that's
Yes.
kind of our
That's our go-to
local
place.
spot.
So
Yeah.
we're very close to that.
Always, anytime you're at a
venue.
venue you like, just slide some info to the guy that does the music and see if it works the magic.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I've told Jared, I said, "Oh my gosh, I can't wait to go to a Joey Greer show." But I've just been waiting for Bonita Creek Hall. I've got to see you at Bonita Creek Hall. There's just something special about that.
There's
Yeah.
nothing like Bonita Creek, and
Right.
it's such a cool venue. I love it out here.
But I'm sure we'll see you before that because we're itching to get to one of your live shows really fast.
Yeah.
Y'all come on.
Joey, thanks so much for spending time with us. We finally made this happen. So I'm so glad, and I'm glad we did it with the timing with your new stuff coming out.
Yes.
To our listeners, check out Back My Way, out everywhere now. It came out last week, and out Thursday is Rodeo and Juliet, and the full EP is out April 1st.
April 1st. Yeah, I was
Correct?
gonna do like a weird April Fool's thing with the release. I haven't really said anything yet, but well, I'm excited about it. Thank y'all so much for having me on. It's very nice to see y'all. I guess face to face in some aspect. But Y'all make sure
Yeah.
you make it to a show and tell your mom and him, all right?
You were a young man's dream to a boy like me back then, and I'd have given anything just to be the one holding your hand. We knew it was crazy till you went and gave me a chance. Well, it wasn't no secret that your mama didn't like me much, and your daddy didn't have it, you were too rich for my blood. But that never stopped us from a wild ride out in my truck. When it was you and me running down Creek Bend Road, an uptown girl and a boy you should know, the diamond in my rough and beat up truck on a ride away from home. You were my Juliet, and I was your